My name is Nam Caldwell, I'm 36 years old, and according to my family, I deliver meal kits in a van. That's the story they've chosen to believe, and the one I've never bothered to correct. Born into a well-off family in Chevy Chase, Maryland, I'm the youngest of three and the only one who didn't go into law, finance, or politics. My sister Celine is the shining star, a Harvard Law graduate with a fiancé from a family old enough to have streets named after them. Me? I take odd jobs, disappear for weeks, dodge questions, and show up to birthdays late. They think I'm unreliable, maybe even a little lost. What they don't know is that I've spent the last decade operating under diplomatic clearance, managing international security threats, and walking into places they'd never survive 5 minutes. I've pulled bleeding ambassadors out of bombed cars. I've interrogated men who don't blink when you say life sentence. But to my dad, I'm still just a kid who forgot to RSVP to Celine's engagement party. And that night, when he laughed and said, "Nam delivers groceries," someone else called, someone powerful. The Secretary of State asked for me by name. Cut. 9:42 p.m. van coasting down a dim side street in Silver Spring. Windshield wet. Wipers squealing. Inside, silence, no music, no chatter, just the low hum of the engine and the sound of tires against rain-slick asphalt. The side of the van reads Capital Meals. Nothing fancy. Faded vinyl letters, a chipped bumper, back window taped from a crack no one ever bothered to fix. Outside, it's just another delivery guy making rounds. Inside, I've got a SIG tucked under the seat, 2 encrypted radios under a false panel, and a diplomatic pouch in the cooler. People trust what they want to see. Camouflage isn't just about blending in, it's about giving them a story they're willing to believe. I check the rear view. A black SUV 4 cars back. Lights off. Same one from 2 nights ago on Connecticut Avenue? I make a right. The SUV doesn't follow. Another left. Still nothing. Ghosted. Maybe I'm paranoid. Maybe not. Pulling up to the drop point, old diner off East-West Highway, long since shuttered. Neon flickers above a boarded window. A man leans against the wall, hoodie up, arms crossed. I roll down the passenger window. He steps forward, hands a manila envelope through the crack. Fast cash and clean names, he mumbles. And a photo. You'll want to see that last one. I glance down. Satellite image. 2 faces circled in red. One tagged, Wexler. That's not good. The envelope hits the floor of the van like it weighs 20 pounds. Not with paper, with consequence. I hand him a pouch. Nothing flashy. Just 200 in crisp bills. He walks away without looking back. The diner lights blink out. Whole block goes dark. Cut. Back inside the van, I unseal the envelope. Coordinates. Meeting logs. License plates. Internal memos that shouldn't have left the State Department server. All copied, printed, photographed. Someone's moving something through diplomatic corridors. Someone wants it quiet. I reach under the floor mat, hit the silent signal. One blink. Location logged. Backup triggered. Phone buzzes. Not the personal. Not the burner. The encrypted line. Blocked ID. I answer. Caldwell. Stay mobile. Don't return home. Surveillance is active. Click. I sit in the dark for a full minute. Every threat I've tracked, every convoy I've secured, every operation I've cleared, I always knew the risk was out there. But now it's closer than ever. I pull the van onto the road. One hand on the wheel. The other slides across the envelope. There's a post-it note stuck on the back. Black ink. 5 words. Someone's asking about the van. My jaw tightens. Rear view. Same SUV. This time 2 cars back. I take the next right hard, tires screeching. The SUV keeps coming. I kill the lights. Gun loaded. Seatbelt off. They're not following a delivery van anymore. They're following me. The ring on Celine's finger could blind a man in daylight. On this overcast afternoon, it glowed like a threat. Something permanent. Something weaponized. The backyard had been transformed. White tents, gold-edged plates, strings of fairy lights draped over manicured hedges like they were spawned from expectations. The Callaways didn't host parties. They staged them, like evidence for a jury. I adjusted the cuff of my blazer. Navy. Clean. Generic enough not to raise questions. Inside my inner pocket, my secure phone buzzed once. Muted. Ignored. My mother fluttered over. Finally, she whispered. Celine's been asking for you. Her fiancé's family's already here. You need to. She stopped short of saying act normal. But I heard it. I nodded. Smiled. Slipped into the crowd like a shadow with a name tag. Celine stood in the center of the garden like a pageant queen, her champagne glass lifted, Preston Wexler beside her, every inch the golden boy. Tailored, polished, the kind of man who knew exactly which country club to name drop in casual conversation. She spotted me. Her smile tensed. There you are, she said. Come meet Preston's parents. I shook their hands. Gerald Wexler, tall, white-haired, smile sharp as a blade. Patricia, pearls, posture, politeness dipped in ice. A pleasure, I said. Ah, the elusive little brother, Gerald said, eyes scanning, cataloging. And what do you do, Nam? Before I could answer, my father's voice boomed behind me. He delivers meal kits in a van. Chuckles. Not laughter, something softer, more pitying. You know those boxes, Dad added, raising his glass. Proportioned, healthy stuff. Drives around, makes his own schedule. Gerald nodded politely. The way you nod at a street performer. Patricia's lips curved into a diplomatic smile. Like the kind you give a waiter who spills wine but tries hard. Celine didn't correct them. She never had. I could have said, actually, I just intercepted an acid-leaking defense protocols to foreign intelligence. Instead, I sipped my drink. Some truths are like grenades. You don't drop them until you're ready to level the room. A cluster of Celine's friends swarmed her like bees to lacquer. One of them glanced at me. Oh. You're Celine's brother, right? The delivery guy. Another chimed in. That's actually so cool. Like, independent. Freedom, no boss, no pressure. Some people are happier with less structure, a third said. They all nodded, not to me, to themselves. I smiled. It has its moments. Distraction. Then the reveal. Behind them, Jared Lockwood appeared, suit sharp, camera bag slung over one shoulder. We'd gone to college together. He knew better. Nam, he said, voice low. That your van parked 3 blocks over? My pulse jumped. I hadn't told anyone where I parked. I held his gaze. Why do you ask? He shrugged. Let's just say your meal kit operation has a fan club. He walked away. No explanation. No smile. I scanned the crowd. Preston was watching me. Our eyes met. He smiled. The kind that says, I know something. Or worse, I think I do. The air shifted. Conversations blurred into background hum. Laughter felt canned. Every champagne pop sounded like a warning shot. People talk about family like it's sacred. Truth is, blood only guarantees 2 things, assumption and exposure. And assumptions? They're the perfect place to hide a bomb. Phone buzzed again. Secure line. Text only. Motorcade incident, stay reachable. I took one step toward the house. Celine appeared at my side. Hey. You're not leaving, are you? Just taking a call. Can you not? Her voice tightened. Preston's parents finally like me. Just don't be weird tonight, okay? I wanted to tell her the Secretary of State might be in danger. That I'd need to coordinate an emergency response. That the reason I missed Thanksgiving was because I was guarding an ambassador in Karachi during a bombing threat. Instead, I nodded. Sure. She smiled. Try not to talk about your job. Or your van. I left her standing there, glass in hand, smile frozen like a mask half melted. Inside the house, I checked the time. 4:58 p.m. The message had come 5 minutes ago. If they called again, it wouldn't be to chat. I stared at my reflection in the hallway mirror. Blazer sharp. Hair in place. The look of someone forgettable. Disposable. I tightened my tie. If they call me tonight, I'll have to walk out of this party and no one here will ever understand why. The ringtone was a soft trill. Too soft for the room I was in. But I heard it, every note. My spine locked up before my hand reached my pocket. Blocked ID. Again. I stepped out through the kitchen door. Past the caterers, past the servers in black slacks and practiced smiles. Into the alley. Trash bins. Grease on the pavement. Silence. The kind of silence that warned you, nothing about this is ordinary. I answered. Caldwell. Asset compromised, the voice said. Flat. Female. Unfamiliar. Motorcade route breached. You're to report in. Now. Click. No name. No protocol tag. No way to trace. But the directive was real. And if the motorcade was compromised, someone had flipped. I turned back toward the party, caught my reflection in the sliding glass door, blazer neat, expression calm, and something in the eyes that hadn't slept in years. Then I walked. Cut. 3 minutes later, I was back in the van. Seatbelt buckled. Glove box closed over the Glock. Engine idle. Radio off. I took a left out of the neighborhood, then another. Then looped back toward Connecticut Avenue. The SUV was there again. 2 car lengths behind. Same matte black. Same busted left fog light. Coincidence stops being coincidence the third time it follows you through a neighborhood with 3 exits. I gunned the accelerator. Not fast. Just enough to break flow. Turned down a side street. The SUV followed. I turned again. No signal. Hard cut. Still with me. Surveillance isn't about watching, I muttered. It's about making you feel like there's no point hiding. 1 more left. Into a narrow alley. Dead end. I killed the engine. Lights off. Then I waited. No headlights in the mirror. 10 seconds. 20. Footsteps. Soft. Measured. A shadow crossed behind the van. I drew my sidearm, stepped out the driver's side, and moved low across the rear. Don't shoot, a voice hissed. I spun, gun raised. The figure put their hands up. Familiar stance. Bryce Nolan. My contact at the AMC. Mid-level handler. Nervous type. Always chewed gum like it was a pacifier. Jesus, I exhaled. What the hell are you doing? He glanced around. We're exposed. No shit. They know about the relay. The encryption pattern we used last quarter? It's been cracked. I holstered the weapon. Bryce pulled a phone from his pocket. Not his work phone. A burner. Cracked screen. Duct tape holding the battery in. He played a clip. Audio. Muffled voices. But one name clear. Caldwell. Use his tag. Clearance won't flag it. I stared at him. Where the hell did you get that? Intercepted yesterday. But there's more. He handed me a second phone. No SIM. No contacts. One image on screen. A receipt. From inside the department's credentialing office. Date stamped. 3 days ago. Someone used my ID to authorize access to a secured terminal. Level 6 clearance, Bryce whispered. Yours. On paper. That's a felony, I said. That's prison for a decade if it sticks. If it sticks, he said. Unless. He paused. Unless someone wants it to stick. We stood in silence. Rain starting to fall. Light. Cold. Then. Crack. Gunshot. Bryce jerked back. Red bloomed across his chest. I dropped behind the van. Drew fast. Scanned the shadows. Second shot missed me by inches. Sparked off the trash bin. Someone was out there. Silenced rifle. Suppressor wasn't perfect. I rolled under the van, came up on the other side, aimed for the fire escape, fired. No response. No movement. Then, tires screeched. SUV peeled away from the alley mouth. Dawn. I ran to Bryce. Still breathing. Barely. Who? I asked. His lips moved. Back door. Back door to what? But his eyes glazed. He wasn't answering anything else. I pulled out my secure phone. Sent 2 texts. Crimzek, attack confirmed. Survivor down. Need extraction. No time to wait. I dragged Bryce into the van. Slammed the door. Hit the hidden panel under the steering wheel. Pressed 3 times. Silent alert. Location pinged. Medical flagged. Then I drove. Fast. No lights. Head down. My hand shook. Not from adrenaline. From clarity. You're not being targeted when they follow you, I said aloud. You're being framed when they lead you. And someone in that party, in that family, in that circle, was leading me straight into it. The game wasn't just surveillance. It was substitution. Erosion. Rewriting the record one clearance at a time. And whoever just tried to kill Bryce. They weren't after information. They were cleaning up the story. They thought I was just a delivery boy in a van. They forgot I carry more secrets than they can bury. I drove Bryce straight to an off-grid emergency station near Bethesda, a converted auto shop with no exterior signage, 2 floodlights, and a biometric lock on the rear door. It existed for moments exactly like this: someone bleeding, someone hunted, someone who can't show up at a hospital without triggering a federal audit. I pulled the van inside. Metal door slid shut. A paramedic team rushed Bryce away on a stretcher. No questions. No paperwork. No names. Nothing traceable. Cut. I leaned against the wall, breath sharp, palms sweating. Every system is only as secure as the people touching it, my old instructor once said. Locks don't fail. Trust does. A tech came out. He's stable for now. Bullet missed the heart. I nodded once. Was he talking? She asked. Enough. Her eyes flicked up. Whoever fired that shot wasn't improvising. I know. And they weren't aiming at you. They were cleaning the record. Silence. She waited for me to deny it. I didn't. Cut. Outside, rain hammered the roof like a warning. I powered up my secure tablet and pulled the most recent credential request logs from the State Department mainframe. Access required multi-factor authorization, 2 encrypted layers, and a personal biometric signature. My signature. But the logs didn't lie. At 10:13 a.m. on Wednesday, someone logged in using my clearance ID, processed 3 document scans, 2 identity verifications, and authorized a level 6 access request for a diplomatic relay account. Everything clean. Everything legal. Everything mine. This isn't breach, I whispered to myself. It's forgery with paperwork. I scrolled deeper into the logs. A scanned entry caught my eye. Terminal location, Wexler Analytics, private contract office. My pulse spiked. Wexler. Not coincidence. Not random overlap. I zoomed the metadata. Location confirmed. Not government. Not subcontractor. Private enterprise. That meant someone with both access and motive had used my identity to unlock secured communications from a civilian terminal. A crime so audacious that if the screening software had hiccuped for even a millisecond, alarms would have detonated across DHS, FBI, Treasury, and NSA. But the deception didn't trip anything. Which meant whoever set it up knew how to bypass the internal behavioral flags, patterns only insiders understood. Not amateur. Not street-level hackers. Someone groomed. Someone embedded. Someone protected. Cut. I left the auto station and drove to a nearby field control center, nondescript brick building behind a laundromat. Badge scan. Palm scan. Retinal scan. Door hissed. Torres, one of the strongest tactical leads in DSS, leaned over a surveillance map. Her hair pulled tight, sleeves rolled, eyes like she'd slept in fluorescent rooms for the last 10 years. She looked at me. No surprise. No greeting. You're late. Bryce got shot. She paused. Jaw clenched. Then escalation is confirmed. More than confirmed. Torres stabbed a finger into the map, a neighborhood grid. Secretary's motorcade is relocating. We're setting up alternative routing east of Wisconsin Avenue. Minimal exposure. How many on site? 2 Metro squads, 1 tactical pair. Local PD shut down 4 blocks. We need you on perimeter command. I nodded. Tell me the trigger. Suspicious collision. Not random. Vehicle from the west clipped the decoy sedan and attempted forced stall. No sidearms visible. Driver fled on foot. Could be observing. Could be reading response time. Or mapping digital footprint. Exactly. She looked at me harder than before. You smell like gunpowder. I returned fire. Her eyes narrowed. This is domestic. It's orchestrated. And internal? I didn't answer. You know whoever is doing this isn't testing motorcade security, Torres said. They're testing you. I breathed once. Slow. Deep. She leaned in, voice even lower. Someone wants you compromised before the secretary becomes compromised. You take the fall, the rest disappears. Outside, thunder cracked. Someone's always watching the man holding the secret, not the secret itself, I muttered. Torres nodded. There's a difference between surveillance and narrative. Surveillance observes. Narrative buries. Cut. Phone vibrated again. Secure channel. A live map flashed across my screen. Red perimeter. Blue nodes for officers. Yellow pulsing in the center. Motorcade on site. Risk moderate. I strapped on my tactical vest and stepped into the rain. Lights from 3 cruisers glowed like flares in the fog. Ambulance idle. 6 figures under umbrellas. Radios crackling. Street lamps flickering. I walked the perimeter, checked line of sight, hazard points, traffic bottlenecks, rooftop exposures. Every doorway, every alley, every blind angle. Then something caught my attention. A sedan parked half a block down. No headlights. Engine cold. No license plate. And then, A flash. Camera shutter. Someone inside the sedan just photographed my ID badge. I walked toward it slowly. Hand near holster. Eyes locked. The sedan peeled away. 40 miles per hour in a residential zone, tail lights disappearing into mist. I dropped back into radio mode. Unit 2, unknown sedan southbound on Arlington Road. No plates. Snap surveillance. Static. Then a voice, copy. Torres appeared beside me. Someone's building a case file on you, she murmured. I know. You think Wexler is connected? I looked straight at the motorcade behind us, black SUVs idling, tinted windows. One way or another. Torres lowered her voice. They weren't tracking a diplomatic convoy tonight. They were tracking you. She glanced at Bryce's blood on my sleeve. And cleaning anyone who could testify. Wind tore through the alley like a warning siren. Every instinct in me sharpened to a point. Because the motorcade wasn't the crisis. The crisis was the frame. Someone was rewriting my life one digital clearance at a time, and shooting anyone who might reveal the edit. I stared down the empty street and whispered it aloud, like an oath I'd swallowed too long. Whoever's framing me, they just tried to tie off the loose ends. The rain cleared before I reached the penthouse tower. Foggy halo of streetlights above manicured hedges. Concrete glistened like a tombstone in moonlight. I pulled the rental car into a nondescript bay. No valet. No cameras. I'd done my homework. I clipped the badge from the van's console. Folded. Quiet. Hidden under my jacket. The lobby was empty. Wind rattled the glass doors. I slid through, footsteps echoing like warnings. They built illusions with glass and steel. But illusions shatter. Always. I clipped on a pair of wireless earbuds, typed in the override code Bryce had supplied, a raw, masked key that looked like static but opened every lock on floor 28. Door buzzed. I pushed it open. Inside, polished marble. Expensive art. Floor-to-ceiling windows. And silence. I moved fast. Low. Sensors didn't catch me, not the thermal strips, not the pressure mats. Whoever wired this place up assumed security, not secrets. I ducked behind a column, eyes adjusting to dim light. The soft hum of a server rack downstairs called to me. Digital heartbeat. I approached. My fingers glided across the console. Older model. Not Xavier guarded, just old enough to be ignored. I downloaded. Audio clip embedded. A male voice, calm. Use Caldwell's tag. Files go clean. Wexler will handle the rest. Then a second file loaded. Document, export relay foreign clearance. Diplomatic code flagged. A name stamped, Caldwell, NAM. Access, granted. My jaw clenched. I hit upload to my secure drive. Then I backed up real-time, timestamp, metadata, IP, access logs. Fingerprint and retinal data. All clean. Concrete. Cut. Lights flickered. The hum of servers died for a second. Then back. Then another flicker. The world paused. And a silhouette appeared in the hall. Backlit. Tall. Familiar. I tucked the tablet behind me. Didn't move. He walked forward. Armani suit. Movement slow. Controlled. Confident. Preston Wexler. Oh, Nam, he said softly. Walking toward me like he owned the world. I was starting to think you wouldn't show. Voice calm. Soft. The calm before a storm. Preston, I said. Nice of you to meet me here. He chuckled. You're always breaking into places, aren't you? He gestured to the server room. I thought your meal kit van was enough. The joke stung. Poison disguised as humor. He closed the distance between us. Lights from the hallway slid across his face, half in shadow, half illuminated. "Look around, brother," he said. "I saw what you did back there." He moved like wind. Slow. Dangerous. Downloaded everything. Including that little conversation about the motorcade. "Nice target you picked for Valentine's Day." I backed away. One foot, then the other. Instinct said raise weapon, but training froze me. Too close. Too many variables. He snapped his fingers. The overhead lights cut. Blackout. Silence. Bloodless. Heavy. Heartbeat in my ears. Then a single light flicked on, slash of red from a fire alarm panel. Emergency power. Dim, jittery. He moved in the red light. Calm. "Do you believe in destiny, Nam?" His voice echoed. "Some men are born to deliver groceries. Others are born to clean up messes. I chose the latter. Convenient, isn't it? I wanted to spit, you chose mafia. But I swallowed." He lifted a photo. A digital printout. Another delivery, he called it. Celine. Family dinner. Charity gala. A memory. "Your sister's ring glowed earlier," he said. "Not because of pride. Because of fear." He stepped closer. The stench of cheap cologne and affluence. "You don't get to ruin this." "Not now." Slow motion, the moment stretched. The music he orchestrated. A sculptor working marble by marble until the shape cuts deep. I realized, the gun in his hand. Hidden under a tailored sleeve. "What do you want?" I asked. His smile wasn't kind. It was a contract. "Submission," he said. "Or exposure." Light snapped back. Full. I stood, pain like ice creeping under my skin. I raised my voice, not loud, but deadly calm. "I don't submit." He twisted his wrist. Gun barrel appeared. Silver. Clean. "Then you walk out. Leave your badge. Your secrets. And you vanish." Distraction. Fire alarm panel exploded, sparks. Smoke. Alarm bells screaming. He flinched. I rolled. Engine of violence roaring. Black boots on marble. I lunged. Gun hand jerked. Click. Empty. He laughed. Clean. Cruel. That's when I slammed the tablet into the server rack. Surge. Overload. Data flashed. All lights died. The penthouse plunged into darkness. I kicked off a wire. Upheaval. Noise. Sirens from farther away, maybe triggered by emergency power failure. We faded into red emergency light and echoing alarms. I grabbed the only thing I could trust, the credentials Bryce flagged earlier, ripped them from my inner pocket. Showed him the screen on my secure phone. File, Wexler Analytics, unauthorized export. Timestamp 2,213 hours last Wednesday. He froze. "Proof," I whispered. That's all he heard. Proof. He took a step back. Eyes wide. For a second, a brief second, I thought I saw regret. Then anger. Then control. He raised the gun. Red dot settled on my chest. The world compressed. Everything slowed. Heartbeat. Breath. Silence. Gunfire, 2 shots. One missed. One shattered glass behind me. Shards sprayed like ice. I ducked low, dove into the dark hallway, sprinted downstairs. Slamming metal stairwell door behind me. Echo. My breath ragged. Panic and control balanced on a razor. Cut. Outside, rain hammered against the windows. I slid into the rental. Engine started, tires squealed. Dashboard lit. The name Caldwell still loaded with clearance tags. Digital proof. Metadata. Audio clip. All intact. I drove away from the penthouse. Past the valet bay. Past the high-rises. Past the glow of the city. I exhaled. Rough. Long. They knew now I had evidence. Photos, logs, timestamps. Not just word against word. Proof. And proof changes everything. I didn't look back. Raindrops pelted the windshield. Fast. Loud. In a low voice, almost a whisper to the dark highway, I said, "You wanted a cover story, Preston. Here's mine, with bullets." The lobby lights were sterile. Cold. Unforgiving. I stood under them, hands still damp from the rain, phone pressed heavy in my palm. The name on the screen glowed, Sextate, Office. My breath slowed. Heart kept. I answered. "Agent Caldwell?" "Yes." "Good. Because we need your eyes on something." Click. Silence drugs the air. Outside, I heard sirens grow louder. Flashing lights cut the darkness. Police. Federal agents. EMS. The city waking up to a secret being exposed. I turned from the phone and faced them, reporters, cameras, blinking lenses, hungry questions. A chandelier of expectations crashing all at once. I looked like a delivery guy in a blue van. I was a federal agent with clearance, blood on sleeve, secrets in pocket, and proof in hand. I held up the tablet. Everything you need to know, right here. Uploaded documents, timestamps, logs of data export, encrypted audio. Full chain of custody. Silence hung. Then a ripple. Then chaos. Cuffs slapped metal. Preston Wexler froze in the glare of cameras, hands behind his back. Celine gasped. Her mother sank to the floor, clutching her pearls. Her father's face drained of color, eyes darting like prey. The van delivery guy they laughed at? He was the one standing as the truth. As the shield. A reporter shouted, "Is this the meal kit driver who saved the Secretary of State's motorcade?" I didn't answer. I just walked away. Cut. The alley was quiet. Just a hum of distant traffic. Rain still dripping. A thin haze clung to the concrete. I looked up at the city skyline, lights blurred, buildings blurred, sense of tomorrow unclear. Justice isn't a clean strike. It's a lingering echo after gunfire. An hour later, charges filed. Wexler indicted on federal espionage, fraud, unauthorized export of secure data. Public records reflect a neat timeline. Evidence admissible, chain unbroken, identity verified. No way to argue. No loopholes. Serenity? Not yet. I didn't get medals. I didn't get recognition. I got quiet. Celine didn't speak to me. Her calls went unanswered. I didn't reply. She asked once, "Why didn't you tell us?" I didn't say. Because some truths, once spoken, burn everything they touch. I parked my van in the garage near the safe house. I scanned the rearview mirror. Night still watched. I pulled off the uniform. Loaded a cooler with the remaining meals, leaving them there felt right. Empty van. Clean start. The road ahead would need a new story. Not about deliveries. Not about clearance or threats. Just movement. As I started the engine, something flickered on the dashboard. A secure message from a burner I used once long ago. Unknown sender. Text only. Nice work tonight. Drinks on me next week. I didn't smile. I typed back, "I'm on." Rain hit the windshield again. Faster. Harder. Like the sky was mourning. I thought, We protect what others can't understand. Sometimes by van. Sometimes by silence. But always by standing guard. The city blurred under red taillights. But for the first time in a long time, I felt seen. And I was finally free. They all laughed at the van. The van just got a call from the Secretary of State.